Stars, cars, guitars.
I'm so delighted to have the original King of the Jungle, Mr. Tony Blackburn.
Oh, Tony,
Hey!
let me pop a
The
doodle
two
doo.
tones.
I'm a celebrity mate. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Really good. Thanks for coming on the show. Champion, I'm a celebrity. Get me out of it. I've done it. You've done it. How many did you get asked a lot to join the show, and were you reticent about it?
No, I only got asked once. My agent rang me up and said, "How would you?" Because I did the first one, so it hadn't been on the air. And he said, "How would you like to be dropped into the Australian jungle and survive for a couple of weeks?" And I thought he was joking. And I said, yeah, it sounds like fun. And about 2 weeks later, he rang me up and said, ITV want to see you. I said, what about? He said, about being dropped into a jungle. So I went to see them. And I'm a vegetarian, and I was 60 years old then. And they said to me, do you like outdoor life particularly? I said, well, not really. I said, do you go on camping holidays? And I said, no. I said, I like a nice hotel. And they said, and they explained what they were going to do, go into this jungle. Yeah. And I said, well, presumably in the evening we go back to the hotel, do we? And they said, no. So anyhow, I said, I'm a vegetarian. They said, well, what would you eat? I said, I hadn't really thought about it. I said, I don't know. I hadn't really thought. And I said, well, they said, well, why? I said, why are you here? I said, well, you asked to see me. And that was it.
And you're going to pay me some money.
No, money wasn't not terrific in those days.
No, probably not actually. No,
it wasn't. No, but I said, well, that was fine, and I didn't think any more about it. And about a week later, I got a message from my agent saying they want you to do the show, and my wife didn't want me to do it. Said I don't think you'd be very good at that. My mother at the time said I don't think you should do that. Yeah. But I think in life sometimes these things come along. And I said to my wife and my mother, I said, if I saw that show and I could have been a part of it and I loved it, then I'd never forgive myself for not doing it. So I just went ahead and did it. And then, when I won it, they came back and they said, oh, you're very good on that. But I loved
Who were you on with? Who were your campmates in there? I'm trying to remember mine.
Christine Hamilton, Nigel Benn, Uri Geller.
That's it, yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah, lots of people like that. It was a very good. I mean, Rona Cameron, and we really all didn't get on very well together.
Did you not?
Everybody, no. They were arguing. All of them before we even got in the jungle. They were really out. But I was like the Henry Kissinger of the jungle. Really, I just kept it going because I worked out how they were doing it. You don't see the cameras very much, do you?
No.
But I loved it. I loved doing the show. And I didn't do it to, I read in the papers it was to do it to rescue a career. And until I thought I was doing quite well till I read that. Because I was on the radio 6 days a week.
Well, you've never been unemployed, have you? Let's put it that way.
Touch wood, no. But did you enjoy it?
Do you know what? I loved it. I mean, had been asked a few times. I just thought it wasn't the right time. Mm. For me, it just hit the right note because I'd done a year and a half with Spandau. And as I've said many times, Spandau is such a big brand. And I wanted to go back and do my solo stuff, finish my album. And I thought, how can I let people know that I'm back just doing my own thing? Mm. And so they asked me just at the right time. Mm. I said, and I've been in the jungle for real. We did for Action Medical Research. We've done jungle treks, and I absolutely loved it. And I don't know if you watched my series.
Honestly, I watched your show. I've watched all of them since I came out.
Yeah, I really enjoy them.
Yeah, you were very good on it. No, you were very good on it. And I thought sometimes when you're watching it, when you've done it yourself, you're sitting around the fire. I like it when everybody's sitting around the fire and chatting. That's the bit that I like. I don't like the task so much. I get bored.
I love that. I love the task. So like, get me out of camp, give me a task. I was mad for it. And
nuts. You like that?
I know. I liked it. I remember. Because Nigel Benn, I know, and I know Christine Hamilton as well. And she can.
Tara Tomkinson as well. She was second.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, she was lovely, but Christine can be quite vocal sometimes. And we had a certain lady in my camp as well who could be quite vocal, and well, I fell out with her completely. We don't do postcards, Christmas cards, or anything like that at all. It's just, but I absolutely, the same as you, I sort of kept my head down. My wife said to me, if don't, just walk out, count to 10, be calm, don't swear, you're on TV, kids are watching.
So right.
And that's what I did, and I loved every minute of it. I absolutely did. It was fantastic, and you won. Yeah,
I mean, yes, I did. I didn't think. Funny enough, the camera crew before I got in there, they told me after I won it that they put bets on me, and to win it.
Oh,
but
wow.
I didn't think for one moment I would. And Darren Day, he was voted out quite.
That's it. Darren was in.
Darren got out quite about a week before I won the thing, and he put a lot of money on me, and he won. He made more money out of it than I did.
Did he? That'd be Darren Day for you.
Yeah.
Stars, Cars, Guitars. Subscribe. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and starscarsguitars.co.uk.
Now I'm going to just do something here, and you might like it, you might not. And I found this. Listen to this.
Oh. Don't get off that train. Oh, dear.
And you know what? It reminded me a little bit of 24 Hours from Tulsa.
Yeah.
24 hours. And so I didn't realise that, which is kind of weird, really, that you started off as a singer.
Yeah.
Because everybody just thinks of Tony Blackburn, amazing DJ. You've been in every, well, you can say that. But when you've been in my life ever since I was a kid, and everybody knows your name. And so when I was sort of looking you up, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, I didn't realise you'd released all these singles, 2 of which made the top 40. So what, because I realised I wanted to be a singer when I was about 14, 15, Pontin's Holiday Camp and all that kind of stuff. What made you become a DJ? Because when you became a DJ with Radio Caroline and all that kind of stuff, no one was a DJ. They had BBC broadcasters, but no one was actually a disc jockey. So it was a completely brand new thing. And you went from being a singer to being a DJ, which I just find kind of really fascinating.
There were DJs like, in fact, that record, Don't Get Off That Train, it was the first one I released in 1964, and I heard it for the first time played. It only got one play on the BBC from a guy called Sam Costa. Sam Costa was a DJ on the Light programme, and as I was going on to Radio Caroline for the first time, we were listening in, and he played it. But I'd been a singer with the dance band in Bournemouth called the General Finney Orchestra, and I had a breakaway group. Al Stewart, funnily enough, in this group that I had, he was my lead guitarist at the time. Al Stewart. But I wanted to be a singer very much. So I read an advertisement in the New Music Express for DJs, and I thought, if I become a DJ, I might be asked to make records, and so get into singing that way, because I'd been turned down by so many record companies, like Decca and things like that, for a long time. And so that's the way I got into it, and it did work. I became a DJ on Radio Caroline, and then I got a recording contract, but I preferred, and I was a lot better, as you can tell by the records, but hopefully being a disc jockey. But I made 29 singles, Tony.
I've listened to quite a bit now. You had a good voice.
Well, it wasn't great. Certainly not as good as yours. But
thank you.
It was sort of in tune.
I thought it was pretty good because the songs, I've listened to the songs, they were real kind of 60s, that kind of real, bit of brass going on in the background, really happy kind of songs. So when you started, did you have any training as a DJ, being that it was a completely new job? No one had ever done it as such, not in the modern way we think of it.
No, I hadn't. I just went on there, and I remember the first show I did was in 1964. It was August, I think it was. It was at 4:00 in the afternoon, a show called The Big Lineup. And I was just plonked in front of this microphone, and I found it really, I loved it. Straight away, I felt at home with it. and loved it. And I remember doing that first show. I had no nerves or anything, just went on there, played some lovely music, talked a load of nonsense, and I've been doing the same ever since. And I found it really easy, and I found it so natural to talk into a microphone. You know, like you, when you sing into a microphone, people think it's weird. You know, what are you doing that? But I found, you know, talking into a microphone, it's like talking to a teacup. It doesn't answer you back. It loves everything you do. And I loved it. You know, that was the first thing I did. And I've enjoyed it ever since, you know, 55 or whatever it is years later.
I know. I mean, your careers. I mean, I have to pinch myself every now and again because I was doing some interviews today, and people say, "Oh, you know, your 40th anniversary." I'm like, "How did I get to 40 years?" And you've been doing it 50 plus.
Well, 55, 56 years or so. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, you enjoy what you're doing, and you're a great singer, and I love your songs. You know,
thank you.
I've played it so many times. You know, all those songs are great. And I just enjoy what I'm doing. And people say to me, I'm 78 now, and they say,
"You're looking good, son.
You know,
you're looking good.
You feel like retiring?" mainly the management at the BBC say, you know, you feel like retiring. No. You see the disappointment in their face. But I love, you know, I just can't bear the thought of retiring. You know, just getting up in the morning, having nothing to do. And why not? If you enjoy something, we're so lucky. Have something we really, really enjoy.
Now, I've got to ask you, Radio Caroline, the ship out to sea, broadcasting from international waters, and we've seen the film. Was it as crazy as it looked?
Well, that film rocked the boat.
Yeah.
That one? No, it wasn't like. The only thing that was accurate in that ship, they did the ship very well. The ship was very good. We didn't have a program controller on board or anything like that. We had no parties, no girls on board. We were allowed 2 bottles of beer a day, and that was it, because it's dangerous out there, dangerous out in the sea. And you know, if you got drunk and you fell over the side, that's it. North Seas, and it was 3.5 miles out. But no, it wasn't like that. The film was nothing like that. I hated that film actually because because it made us. It was a very important time, and we were changing the whole broadcasting system, you know, against the BBC, and to give variety, which is now brought round Radio 1 and commercial radio and everything. So it made us all like to be a load of, you know, young twits. It wasn't that at all. It was, we were there for a purpose, and we all realised this was going to change broadcasting. But that film made it look ridiculous. So I didn't like it. None of us were invited to the screening of it.
Oh, really?
No.
I can't believe that.
They did the the producer of it, I can't remember his name now, has done all these Bridget Jones things.
Yeah.
But he asked that the person that actually he asked about the ships was Chris Evans, who'd never been on one. We were all there. If he'd come to me and told me, asked me for advice, I'd have quite rightfully given it to him. But Emily went to Chris Evans, and they went round BBC Radio London to look at the studio, which was nothing like the ships. I mean, it's a ludicrous film. It didn't do well.
Do you know, I can't believe, I mean, I obviously I watched it, but I would have thought that all you guys would have been consulted as executive producers on it and everything else. And I'm sure loads of people out there will think that is a real true representation of actually what it was like. But it's interesting what you said, because, I mean, we look at radio today, we look at Radio 1, Radio 2. I mean, there's so many radio stations now. It's unbelievable. And you guys were really the people that set the store for modern radio. You know, as I said before, there were DJs, but they weren't in the modern sense, you know, playing cutting edge music and just sort of pioneers of the whole thing. And from that point of view, I mean, I think it's incredible. It was an incredible period, and great music as well.
Yeah, I'm very proud to have been a part of that era. And the ship, fun enough, the station that everybody's, well, they remember it, but not so much as Radio Caroline, but the one that really revolutionised radio was Big L Radio London, with all the jingles we had and all the rest of it, and the top 40 format. And I have, just over there, I've got a painting of Radio London. And my daughter, who's 23, I remember when she was a bit younger, when she was about 12 or 13, came up and looked at that and said, "What's that, Dad?" And I said, "Oh, I used to live out on there." And she just laughed and went out. She didn't realise it. But a lot of people now don't realise that it started on the pirate ships. You know, it was such an important era. And I just loved every moment of it. I was out there for 3 years. I loved it. Absolutely adored it.
I didn't realise you were out there for 3 years. And then, of course, you went on to be the first DJ on Radio 1. And I've written it down. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the exciting sound of Radio 1. Yeah, well, the first word was for some reason I said, and good morning and welcome to the exciting new sound of Radio 1. I don't know why the and was in there for, and then went into Flowers in the Rain, of course. By the Move. Unfortunately, we didn't have one of your records at the time, I don't think. What year was Radio 1? The first broadcast? 68? No, September the 30th, 1967, at 7 o'clock in the morning. I remember it very well. It was a Saturday morning. And that was the first time, opening up Radio 1, It was quite a thing. Were you nervous on that first? Do you know, no, I don't. I don't get nerves. It's probably a thing that you should do. A lot of people, performance, I don't know if you get nerves before a show. I do, yeah. Yeah, I don't. I've never got nervous. Working on the principle, it'll either go well or it won't. If it doesn't go well... It doesn't go well, I remember turning up to... The only time I remember getting slightly nervous, I went to Edinburgh to do a gig up there, the university, and went into the hall. There were only 2 people there. And I was just about to go on stage. And then I thought, oh, my God, only 2 people. And the guy came up and said, I'm terribly sorry, we've made a mistake. We booked you a week earlier. They'd all gone on holiday. So they booked me for the wrong week. So I thought, it's not my fault. To be honest, we've all had those gigs where we turn up and I remember we played the Double Six in Basildon once, and I might have mentioned it, but we arrived there, and I think there were 6 people in the audience. It was before we were Spandau Ballet. I think we were the Makers or something like that. Yeah, and 6 people, and you know when you think, ouch. And then when I went to after Spandau broke up, I was doing these PAs to fund the court case that we had. So I was playing these places, these small clubs, just to keep the court case going. And I remember, coming on stage a couple of times, and I'm thinking, I was playing Wembley just a while ago. It's like just a few people in the audience. But do you not get nervous even when you do your stage show, like your stage production, Sounds of the 60s? No. Wow, I'm standing on the side of the stage, and the band are doing a sort of a piece, to warm up everybody, and I just can't wait for them to get to the end of it so I can get out there. And no, I love it. I just absolutely love it, and I don't know why I don't get nervous. I mean, I've done thousands of people in Hyde Park at those Radio 2 days. Yeah. And I just go, man, have fun. And I don't get nervous, and I don't know why. Even if I go into a club, and I've been many times on clubs and getting heckled, I quite like it. And I don't know why. I mean, I'd rather people didn't, but my act always was, and I used to go out there on stage and say, when I was younger, this was, hello, I'll stand here for a moment and let you admire me. Now, that's asking for trouble, isn't it? Well, when I was doing it when I was younger, people didn't realise I was joking. I've never taken myself seriously. Now, at my age, everybody knows I'm joking, obviously. But I just think it's good fun, and I enjoy it, But I will never get involved in something I don't think I can handle. Yeah. I think it's very important that. But I mean, going on stage, I just absolutely adore it. Love it. Yeah. I mean, for me, I when I'm on stage, just before I get to that point, I'm like, the nerves are cracking up, and I'm like, oh, right, here we go. As soon as I hit the stage, and the monitors are working, and and the voice is happening, I can hear the band. Then all of a sudden, the nerves just dissipate, and then I feel, and I'm in heaven. Then I'm in my element. I can't understand why you get nervous, because people have come to see you. They know you're a good singer. You've got a great act there. So why is there nerves? I know a lot of performers do get like that. Yeah. I don't be able to understand it. And people have said to me, you should get nervous because you do a better job doing that. But I don't think I would. I think for me, it's, sometimes when you're on the road, you're tired or you're a bit fluey or whatever, got a bit of a cold. The nerves and that adrenaline gets you through the performance. And I fear that if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be able to get through it. So maybe it's a little bit that's Martha the dog. Shush. And so, talking about the dog. Talking about the dog. Is that your dog? That's Martha the dog.
Martha the dog.
Yes. Talking about the dog, you've always had a dog on your show as well.
Well, Arnold the dog.
Arnold.
Somebody came up to me the other day, funnily enough, it was only about 2 weeks ago, and said, you still with Arnold dog? I said, no, he'd have been 55 now. And so, to be honest with you, I did use him on Radio 1 and Radio 2 for a short time, but he got on my nerves, The dog got on my nerves. It was never a real dog. It was a...
Yeah.
But it just that barking in the headphones, it really got to me. And also the fact he got much more fan mail at the time than I did as well. So that's why I had to get rid of it.
When the dog gets more fan mail than Tony Blackburn, that's a bit of a worry.
That's a problem.
I mean, Martha, I don't know why she does it. Whenever we're doing what it is we've got a walkway across our house, and if anyone walks across, she's so she's going for it like.
So what breed is it? What breed is it?
She's a wire-haired miniature dachshund, and she's gone there. She won't come back.
Yeah.
She's just like, no, Martha, Martha, hold it,
right.
Hold it. We're in luck. Martha, come here.
Fantastic.
Come here, baby.
What are we introduced to Martha?
Right, let me just.
Oh my goodness me! How lovely. Hello, Martha.
Say hello. This is Tony.
So wire-haired what?
She's a wire-haired miniature dachshund.
Oh,
and and she's only 4, and she is good. She's a little dachshund that thinks she's a Rottweiler, which is a bit of a problem, because when you're going out for a walk, she goes up to these great big dogs, don't you? You say anyway,
they don't have any smaller dogs. Don't realise how small they are, do they?
No, she doesn't. She's flipping crazy. Have you got a dog?
Funnily enough, we've got.
See you later, Mark. Off you go.
Her name is Brooke, and she's a beautiful golden retriever. She lives next door, but she spends most of the time with us. So she just, I'll open the door and she's there. She's there, and she comes in. And it's because we give her a biscuit now and then, obviously, every day. And she comes around about 9 o'clock to have a morning snack, and she has breakfast with me. But she's not our dog, and but she guards the house, and she goes backwards and forwards. She's got another house up the road that she goes to as well, because they've given her a biscuit. So she's got three houses now that she visits. She goes in between. But she's great. Yeah, I love dogs. Yeah,
dogs are easily corrupted. I mean, I'm sort of very much a dog is a dog. The dog doesn't lick me or anything. We don't do that stuff. And but because I feed her more often than not, and she's kind of my best pal. And then when I leave the house, she sits at the window. And it's like something out of, one of those Second World War films. She just sits there waiting for me to come back, honestly. And my wife says, "What is it about you? She pines for you." And it's very, very, very strange. Do you prefer TV? Do you prefer the radio? What? Because you've done Seaside Special, you've done all those classic programs in the past.
Yeah, well,
Top of the Pops, obviously.
Yeah, I've always loved radio. It's always been a natural thing for me. Television, when I was younger, I didn't have the confidence. I don't know what it was. I just didn't have the confidence. Looking back on some of the things, I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. But, I mean, somebody like Noel Edmonds, my friend Noel Edmonds, he was...
I think you've done all right.
Well, he naturally wanted to be on television, Noel. He wasn't so interested in radio. But he was good on both. But I was much better on radio, and I found it much more natural. But I love doing television. I didn't really, if I'm absolutely honest, Top of the Pops, I didn't really enjoy doing that so much. It was a great show to be on, but, you had all these people around you.
Yeah.
Trying to get on, waving and nudging you and things. And I felt, I wanted to concentrate on getting the thing right, because in the old days, they were recording on this big videotape. And if you made a mistake, they had to cut it. And that cost them a lot of money. So you were under pressure not to make a mistake. So I didn't, Top of the Pops, it was a great program to be on, but it wasn't, for me, the best type of TV. I enjoyed Seaside Special. That was good fun. And,
I bet it was.
I love doing TV. I really enjoyed doing QVC. I was on there for a time as well.
QVC?
That's the greatest training of the lot, QVC, shopping channels. You know, I mean,
what were you selling?
I was selling electronic stuff. You know,
Oh, wow.
Well, the first one was a karaoke machine, a portable karaoke, because I was making fun of it on one of the radio stations. And the guy that was running QVC rang me up and said, "Do you like karaoke?" I said, "Well, not particularly." He said, "Not particularly." And I said, he said, "Well, how would you like to come on and sell this karaoke machines?" I said, "Yeah, loves it." So I went on there, and I found QVC very much like radio, actually. So
you have to talk endlessly about the product, don't you? And look at it, the fine lines, and look, yellow dials. Oh, I suppose it is a bit like radio in a sense. Yeah,
well, we had fun. We had fun with it. Paul Lavis, I was on with once. I remember we were selling a product that it was a plastic bag or something like that, and you could put stuff in it, and it was leak proof. And we got these. It was tins of tomato, I think it was. We put it in this thing. We had white trousers on. We put them down our trouser legs, just to prove that it wouldn't spill out onto the trousers. And we sold tons of this stuff. We got really told off for it because QVC, the product is king. You don't make fun of the product. And we said, well, we sold loads of the things by shoving this stuff down our trousers live on TV. We sold tons of the stuff. They really could not get rid of it, but we weren't allowed to do it again. So I think, you know, sometimes it's just great to have fun with everything. That's been always my thing. You know, have fun.
I'm a great believer. I mean, you know, for me, music, whether you're listening to it, playing it, whatever, it is all about fun. And when it gets to the point where you're not enjoying it, then that's a massive problem. I back to Top of the Pops, as you're talking about all the audience there, because TV makes everything look so much bigger.
Yeah.
So when I used to watch it as a kid, Top of the Pops, and used to think it was a huge studio.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first arrived in 1980, we did, to cut long story short, I was like, is this it? And what looked like 300, 400, 500 people was 70, 80 people. And they used to use those big cameras, didn't they? And literally smash their way through the audience.
That's it, yeah.
But you did think you'd arrived at Top of the Pops. And and I've said many a time that the worst thing was whistling the tune of your rival on Top of the Pops as you're walking down the corridor. And then Duran walk out the door. Oh, no, you know, or Frankie Goes to Hollywood and someone like that.
That's where I met Michael Jackson for the first time. He was in the dressing room, and he was coming out into the studio, and he was surrounded by, you know, bodyguards and things like that, even in the studio. And I remember he looked over at me and he said, "Hello." And that was it. That's the only time. I mean, that's the one thing I said, Michael Jackson. He just went, "Oh," and that was it.
And that was it.
Yeah, that was it. But I mean, Top of the Pops was a great program to be on. It was massive. If you were on Radio 1 in the 60s, if you were on Radio 1 and Top of the Pops, you made a name for yourself literally overnight. You know, you could do that.
Well, you guys were like, I'm not being funny, but you guys were like pop stars. It's, I mean, people really looked up to all the Radio 1 DJs. And also people see anybody that's on television as being, wow, they're on television. They're in that mystical, wonderful box that we look at. Yeah. And do you remember we used to go up to, you know, where the BBC is, Wood Lane, and used to go up to the bar afterwards. You remember the lovely bar? Yeah. Used to be at the top, and there were the gardens. Yeah. And it used to be great fun, didn't it, with all the bands and the DJs, and everyone would be hanging out together.
Yeah. They're very special days, those were. I mean, you know, you had a proper record industry, didn't you? It wasn't downloading; it was going into the shops, buying the records. And I remember, you know, out on the pirate ships, we used to get delivery of the new records, and wow, here's a new song. We used to go through them, the new Beatles song or whatever it might have been, and it was very special. And those days were special. Never come back again. It was one of those things. But I mean, the music industry was so big, wasn't it? I mean, you used to wait for the record charts to come through, and when you had a record out like Gold or True or something like that, you'd wait what position it was, and you had to sell an enormous amount of records in those days.
Oh, it's a hell of a. Well, I remember as a kid, we used to have something called the Quadrant around our school, which was at the Angel Islington, and we used to have those little radios. And so we used to walk around the Quadrant at lunchtime, listening to Top 40 Rundown, which I think was on a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday. And you'd be checking the charts because we were all, I mean, I was massively into music and so checking out your favourite bands and whether. So everybody really everyone was so into music in those days because I don't think we had anything else. It was music and fashion. Apart from that, we had 3 TV channels. But now, of course, you've got the world is, where do you want to go in the world? On social media or computers or whatever. It's but do you think, though, this is a personal view. I find that you guys from your generation and from the 80s and everything else really cared about music. I remember when like Simon Bates, for instance, played, he got the True album and he said, wow, this is amazing. I've got the new Spandau Ballet True album. Wow, this is really good. I can't wait to hear it. And he said, but I'm going to play the title track, which was True, which I didn't think was a single, if I'm honest. Shows you how much I know. and then he played it again. Well, you couldn't do that today on sort of national radio. You could do it maybe on regional radio, but he really championed the band, and along with Peter Powell and people like yourselves, who really enthused about music. And I find today that I don't find that, and most of the time they don't even say that the record was by, which is so frustrating.
Very annoying. I quite agree with you. I mean, I think in the early days when I was on Radio 1, I think, telling all the jokes and all that stuff, I don't think people realised how much I loved music, particularly soul music.
Soul music, yeah.
Yeah, they do. I think people do now realise that I, love music, and it was very special. And of course, you're talking about the days when people knew what was number one in the charts, and it was very special. Getting that top 40, is it going to be number one again, and things like that. And doing it, we used to do occasionally. I would do, if I had a record that I really loved, I'd do an instant replay on it. I love it so much. Let's hear it again.
Let's hear it. Brilliant.
I don't know if you can do that anymore. I'm not sure. I nearly did it the other day with Bruno Mars, the Silk Sound, Leave the Door Open, which I love. And I nearly did it. I might do it on Sunday, actually. Yeah.
Well, I think you can do it on local radio. I mean, I like to do the Sunday morning show on BBC Three Counties. I mean, I'm going to try that. I'm going to do a replay on a new song. That used to be
my show, incidentally, Tony.
I know. Listen, thank you so much for coming on today, Tony. I won't take any more of your time. You've been absolutely brilliant. We go back a long way, and it's you are a legend in the world of DJ and on record as well, I might add.
Well, I don't know about the record.
It was. I got to tell you, it was great listening to your stuff. I very much enjoyed it. It's very good.
Tony, and thanks for all those lovely. I mean, I'm a great Spandau Ballet fan anyway, and those, Gold and True and all those things, they're lovely to play. And obviously, I still play them to this very day, and those will go on forever. Those songs.
I'd say one last thing. The great thing about a great DJ, and you are a great DJ, is that when you come on, and there's various other DJs as well, it makes you feel good. And that's the beauty of a brilliant DJ. And so I take my hat off to you. And thank you very, very much. Brilliant.
Thank you, Tony. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Stars, Cars, Guitars was produced by Tom Stroud.